What is going on, guys? As promised, this is going to be my video where I put a 1080 EVGA ACX 3.0 cooler on my 980 Ti. So here we've got the reference blowers type cooler, and here we've got the ACX 3.0 cooler. There's a lot of fins, a lot of heat pipes, and effectively this is going to aid towards better cooling. It's got two fans. Now the first task at hand is removing your stock cooler. So work through all the screws, just be careful, you know where they're going from. Some of them are slightly different, some of them aren't. And then once you got them off, just see if the new backplate will fit. As you saw, it's not a problem. Just keep working through it, take off all the screws. You've got to take the ones off at the front. The ones at the front are in two sizes. So the three smaller ones go near the HDMI and the two bigger ones go near the bottom, basically. Just remember that, because you don't want to put the wrong screws back into the wrong place. And once that's done, just wiggle the board off, take off your two fan connectors. Just be careful, they are a bit delicate. Now here I've got the heat pads that are on the blower cooler lined up next to the original GPU board, and also make sure the fan connectors are the same, which they are, which is brilliant. I'm just putting all the heat transfer pads back onto the chips, and I'm going to use some of the newer ones. Now some people will say you have to use all the same ones, some people say heat transfer pads are heat transfer pads. It's all up to you. After you've done all the heat transfer pads, make sure you give your GPU chip a nice clean. Try clean it as thoroughly as possible. Now between the cooler and the GPU there is a plate involved, which isn't there on the stock blower cooler. Now there is a problem because the 1080 only has one 8-pin power connector, whereas the 980 obviously has an 8-pin plus 6-pin. Now the metal bracket is a bit different, so I'm proposing to cut that whole area away. Even the capacitors are in a slightly different location. So here, as you can see, very crude, very quick, very blunt way of doing it. Just got an angle grinder and I'm just gonna grind that whole section away. Now I don't recommend you try this at home. I'm doing this in my bedroom. I'm a bit of a caveman, but this is some tough metal, guys. So you're gonna have to cut from both sides. It's some tough heat treated metal. It did not want to cut so easily. Make sure you have your own safety procedures. Best to do it outside, but like I said, I'm a bit of a cowboy. I don't really care. Now once you got it back on, you'll see now the power pins are not a problem, but I need to cut a bit more away just to make space for the last capacitor. So once you've done that, come back and then try put some heat transfer pads in the places it was originally at. That is basically it. Now this plate fits perfectly onto my 980 Ti board, not an issue. My audio might not be great, guys, I'm recording it off a phone, I apologize. But once you've done that, try get the cooler in the right orientation, give it another clean, make sure you use isopropyl alcohol. I always use cotton buds. I'm using IC Diamond thermal paste, I think it's Diamond 7 or something like that, very cheap. Give a P amount on your GPU and then line it all up, make sure everything's in place. Try get your fan connectors connected. The wires are a lot shorter than the stock blower cooler wires, so just be wary and you have to be a little bit more careful. Try line it up as best you can, and I'm having a bit of issue. For some reason it doesn't seem to fit right, so it's always best to have a careful look. And upon closer inspection, as you saw me kissing the table there, this area, because the capacitors are different on the 1080, the fins are in the arrangement to fit a 1080 specifically. So at this point what I basically got is a little wire snipper and I hacked away at the fins. I'm sorry for not doing this on camera. It was a bit crude and it was something I wasn't expecting, but as you can see, there's me trying to snip away at the fins. So I'm just trying to clear that little area. It shouldn't really make a huge difference, but the end product is not that bad. So once the fins are cut away, you should have enough space. The ones that are bent at the bottom, at the base of the heat pipe, you can straighten them out, but I couldn't be bothered. So the rest is up to you. Make sure you reapply new thermal paste, because I've probably got some crap on it, and then realign your board to the new cooler. Now it is probably best done in this orientation. The 1080 and the 980 screws are pretty much the same, but I stuck to the 980 ones. The threads are the same, but because it's a 980 board and the screw mounting points are pretty much the same, I stuck to the same one. Now we've got the back plate. My old one has some heat transfer pads. I didn't really see them serving any purpose, so with the new one I didn't really bother. So make sure you use all the screws to mount your board back into the back plate on the other side, basically, because you're not mounting it onto the stock blower cooler anymore. And once that's done, make sure everything's lined up and you haven't missed any screws, and now you can get your back plate onto the board, hopefully. Now, as this is a voiceover, I haven't seen this video again enough times, but we can skip that point now. So once you've got all the screws back on, just make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure you use the newer screws from the 1080 cooler, because only for the back plate, because they're slightly longer, and because you're going through the back plate to the board to the back plate on the other side, you'll need slightly longer screws. But that is basically it, guys. As you can see, the film is still on, the protective film. So we're just going to quickly tidy up the desk and show you what everything looks like. But here's a quick comparison out of the frame, because my recording gear and setup is pretty shit right now. I'm going to try get a better setup soon, so these kind of videos will hopefully be a bit more intuitive and a bit more interactive for you guys. But I'm going to clear away the desk now, hopefully, if my voiceover and my memory of the video serves me right. And we should have a cleaner workspace very soon. So I forgot to mount the screws at the front of the device, so I'm just doing now. Once they're done, hopefully, once again, my work area should be cleared up. But obviously I don't remember everything at once, we're all human. And just make sure everything's done, that's the most important bit. Now we're gonna try clear up the work area. I think that's what that finger motion went. And here we go, the work area is all cleared up. It's all mounted, and as you can see, it looks like a GTX 1080. The point of this wasn't to make it look like a GTX 1080, it was merely to have more efficient cooling, so I can run more voltage, a higher power limit through a custom BIOS on my 980, and effectively push more performance out of it whilst maintaining the normal under load temperatures I was getting with the blower cooler. Now my load temperatures with the mild overclock was about plus 210 megahertz on the GPU frequency clock, 350-ish on the memory, no extra voltage, and 110% power limit. Now this is all going to be changed, and I'm going to show you a quick comparison of frame rates at the end of the video between my stock BIOS running at stock speeds and my modded BIOS with extra voltage and extra power limit. Now this is the finished product, looks quite snazzy, looks exactly like a 1080, but we've got two fans. Hopefully it's going to run a lot quieter, because that was the second intention of the video, of this tutorial as well rather. And now we have it mounted into the PC. we're just gonna do a first boot now for you guys so you know it all works. So hopefully I'm gonna press the button any second now. And there we go. As you can see, it lights up, it's white. I prefer it to the green. Hopefully I'm going to switch on some RGB lighting to light up that case. There we go. Now as you can see, it all seems to be operating just fine. By the way, if you want a video review on my computer, please comment and like this video, and hopefully I'm going to have a new camera very soon and I'll get that done for you guys. Now it is loaded. GPU driver, nothing was a problem, nothing was damaged, and there's gonna be a big gap in between this video and me tweaking my BIOS and running Uni Engine benchmark and showing you the difference in frame rates. But effectively this is just me making sure everything's working, just checking on GPU Z that everything's fine. I don't know why I did this shot when I wasn't able to do it, but that is basically the stop clock, and this is the modified BIOS with the new cooler. I'm getting exactly the same thermals as before, running more voltage, and this is my settings. So you can see I've got 273 if it lets you see with the pixelated nonsense. And that is basically it, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this, and thank you very much for your views.